Hello everybody and welcome to my small English version of my solo Jade Doctor guide. In this video I just want to explain you how to play Jade Doctor in a solo Greater Rift. So if you want to see the items, the skills, the cube and the rows you need on every item, just check out the two D3 planner links in the video description. There's one for season and one for non-season, because this season you can play a little bit different because of the season theme. But before we start with the gameplay during the Rift, there's one small thing I have to explain you about Jade Witch Doctor. On Jade Witch Doctor, you first apply your Haunt and Locust Swarm on an enemy and then activate Soul Harvest to deal damage with your 6p stat bonus. Every time you're activating Soul Harvest, you reduce the duration of your Haunt and Locust Swarm by 10,000 seconds from your 6p stat bonus. Now, because of our Creeping Death passive, the duration of Haunt and Locust Swarm gets increased up to 120,000 seconds. But because we use the Quetzalcoatl, this duration gets halved to 60,000 seconds and the damage gets doubled. So now we can harvest 6 times until our Haunt and Locust Swarm are gone on the enemies and we have to reapply them. But this is only important for our Locust Swarm because during the Great Rift we always shoot Haunt, always reapply it on the enemies. Yeah, so we only have to know when we need to recast our Locust Swarm, especially at the Rift Guardian. That's very important. But now first, let's get to the gameplay during a Greater Rift. Keep up the armor bonus you gain from your horror fight during the Great Rift and your 10 Soul Harvest stacks for your toughness. Now, when you get to a corner or place where you want to start your pull, first once apply Locust Swarm on the enemies there. Then you go maybe a little bit to left, a little bit to right, a little bit up, a little bit down, and also apply Locust Swarm on enemies if there are some. Then you go back to your main place where you wanted to start your fight and see where your Templar is. Because you always want to build your pull around your Templar. Because if you use As of Yohem on your Templar, you will sometimes pull the enemies a little bit closer together and you don't want him to block enemies away somewhere else. Then you start moving around your pull, shooting Haunt. You try to do this little stutter step mechanic where you always do one step, one Haunt, one step, one Haunt, and so on. Doing this, you try to dodge range attacks and elite affixes. All kind of melee attacks get blocked by your fetishes. Because you use Belt of Transcendence, you always summon a fetish Psychopant when you activate Haunt. So you build this little meat wall between you and the enemies that blocks away all kind of melee attacks. Now you also sometimes activate Piranha to also pull the enemies a little bit closer together and to apply the 15% increased damage bonus from the piranhas on the enemies. You also sometimes Soul Harvest to deal damage from outside the enemy pull and to gain mana back to be able to activate Piranha and to be able to reapply Locust Swarm on the enemies. Because, like I mentioned before, after every 6 times Soul Harvesting you have to reapply Locust Swarm. Now, if you don't want to count every Soul Harvest during your Greater Rift, you just build your own kind of little rotation. For example, you always activate Locust Swarm after every poison rotation. Yeah, something like this. So you have your own little rotation, always sometimes recasting Locust Swarm. So you never run out of Locust Swarm because you harvested from the enemies. So then when you think your whole pull is affected by Haunt, you try to get an Oculus field right before your poison rotation. Because your poison is your main damage spell, you use the poison Haunt rune, you deal your main damage during your poison rotation. So you try to kill enemies right in your physical rotation, because physical rotation is right before your poison rotation. Then you get an Oculus field, move into that Oculus field and try to harvest from that Oculus field, standing still during your poison rotation. Doing this, you always try to continue shooting Haunt to reduce your Soul Harvest cooldown by your 4-piece Jade set bonus. And then maybe, if you kill enough trash, you also gain cooldown reduction from your Grave Injustice passive. Maybe you can harvest again and again and again, harvest very often during your poison rotation and deal a lot of damage, massive amount of damage. Maybe also during this you can always continue using Spirit Walk because you gain cooldown reduction. You can also be immortal all the time, activating Spirit Walk, spamming it. Then when every trash is gone, depending on how much damage you deal, how big your enemy pull was, if you can continue this cycle, you go to your next trash pull. Maybe if you hurt some elite, you try to pull them up to your next trash pull. And can continue this cycle right from the beginning. Locust Swarm everything, pulling with Locust Swarm, and shooting Haunt, and harvesting everything. Yeah, that's how Jade Witch Rector works during a Great Rift. At Rift Guardian it works a little bit different. You have to follow one certain rotation to be able to deal maximized damage at Rift Guardian. Once you get to the Rift Guardian, you first cast one time Piranhas on them, just to get the 15% damage increase from the Piranhas. This lasts for the whole boss fight. Also, the damage increase from Piranhas lasts for 120,000 seconds because of our Creeping Death passive, and we don't consume Piranhas from the Rift Guardian. Yeah. Then, once you start the Rift Guardian fight, you cast one time Locust Swarm on the Rift Guardian to apply it on them. Then you shoot every second Haunt on the Rift Guardian to deal damage with your 2-piece Jade set bonus and also to stack up your Stricken Gem on the Rift Guardian. Then once you get to your first poison rotation of your Convention of Elements, you harvest one time at the beginning of your poison rotation and one time at the end of your poison rotation. So you harvest it 2 times during your poison rotations. And remember, you always have to shoot Haunt every second on them. If you get interrupted because the Rift Guardian is moving or is doing some kind of attack that you have to dodge, because you would die normally, then you can't harvest 2 times during your poison rotation. You only can harvest 2 times during your poison rotation if you can really stand still. So please try to save your Spirit Walk for your poison rotation, so you are immortal and can stand still and harvest. Just when the Rift Guardian is moving, you can't be able to harvest 2 times during your poison rotation. Because you need the cooldown reduction you gain from shooting Haunt for this 2 times harvesting. Then, once your Convention of Elements is taking to the next elements, you try to harvest 2 times until your next poison rotations. Even if you can harvest more, you don't want to harvest more, you only want to harvest 2 times until your next poison rotation. And then, at your next poison rotation, you also harvest once at the beginning and once at the end of your poison rotation. So, then you harvested 6 times at the Rift Guardian, so you have to reapply your Locust Swarm. But because of your less mana, you have to wait a little bit to regenerate your mana until you can cast Locust Swarm again. And then you just start this whole cycle from the beginning. So you use your 6 times harvesting most efficient. 4 times during poison rotations and 2 times between poison rotations. Because it would be a waste to not use those 2 times between poison rotations. Yeah, because some people are asking why we're not waiting for 3 poison rotations and just always harvesting during poison rotation, but it would be a waste of damage. Yeah, that's how you fight a Rift Guardian. Now, if you have any more questions about Jade Harvester gameplay, or the items, or the skills, or anything, just ask in the comments or live on Twitch. Yeah, hope you could understand everything. So, good luck with your solo push, and see ya. Goodbye.